friendship, mentorship. I think that is something that a great tool that we could really use in the church, where if the youth have someone in church that they really look up to, not idolize, but just someone who they could turn to for assistance and guidance, and who will always lead them back to the word and set examples for them. That's a great tool that I think would make a great difference in this evolving world.
So some great points coming across so far, but I really want to expand on what Ms. Sampson brought about the realness, right? And I think that sense of realness could be incorporated into the message by adjusting the medium that we present the message to young people and to people of the world today, right? Now we know that the new fad is the short videos on TikTok, the Reels, the YouTube Shorts, right? We see Instagram, all these things that young people are actively engaging with, right? We want to give them the same message, the love of Jesus, because that will never change, and that has to be the focus. But we need to consider how we are presenting that message. What avenues are we could use? Latoya was speaking about how we sometimes let traditions get in the way of presenting the message to the young people or to those involved. But when we understand the young people of today, we understand the mediums that they are interacting with, right? We could present the love of Jesus to them in a way that they will understand, in a way that they could feel it and they could know it, because they mightn't be able to read the Old English of the King James, right? But if we could give it to them in a TikTok, might have better reach with that. That was just my
great point.
Yeah, I totally agree with what everyone was saying. You know, when we think about the struggles of the youth, it's really, we just want somebody to relate to us, you know, be real with us. And I think that is not any specific, like pinpoint, okay, what is the struggle, but it's just be real with us and to speak our language. And if we want to like follow the, Christ's example, Jesus spoke the language of the people he was talking to, whether, the fishermen, he used a lot of parables and stories with, or understanding catching fish using nets. And when he used that type of language, the fishermen in the crowd was like, yes, it had tent makers, it had all those other, farming was a thing. So when he used those, when he used that language, they could relate to it. Now, if we had asked this question in 2019, I think it would have been the medium is an issue. But now, because we are indoors and we are doing things totally different, I must say that it is surprising to see the adults in the church, quote unquote, the elders on TikTok. We had a Wednesday night service at USC sometime, and to advertise it, they did a TikTok. And they're kind of understanding the importance of technology and understanding the importance of social media now that everything is totally different, and they can see that, oh, the youths, they're onto something here, instead of like shunning what our language was. So they're kind of accepting it. There are other things that they can improve, but I must give the adults some credit. They are trying their best, trying to speak our language. So once they do that, I think that would fix the struggles the youths are having.
Yes, I completely agree with everybody's point. So far, everybody's point is on target, exactly what everybody needs to do. And now in terms of like with AY specifically as a department, I think that the adults could generally be more supportive. Show up in AY. When we send you a flyer, advertise it, not just because it's AY means you can't attend. You might learn from it, or you might be able to advertise to people who might be able to learn from it, and also to lift up the youth instead of bringing us down. Because a lot of the times, we work so hard on a program, or something completely unrelated to church, but something that you work so hard on, and we're proud of it at the end, and then you come and here, but you do this, you do that, you do the other, and it, is really something that might be true, but could be said differently, or instead of first saying, well, you did this wrong, well, you worked so hard, I'm proud of you, or this was very good, that the other, before pulling down other people. So I think those are just some of the things that the others, older heads in the church could work on.
And
Indeed, indeed.
I know I said something before, but what Ariel is saying, especially with the whole thing about AY, we know AY is dying, and I think we have to kind of change our thinking exactly what is AY. Yes, it's for the youth. Yes, it's for the young people. And as soon as they hear AY, the elders say, I will stay home, let the young people go. But like we have to think about it this way. In a school, a primary school, it's for the ages of, I think, 6 to 12. It is for, you're not going to find an adult in a class other than being a teacher, right? 12-year-old is not going to teach the 12-year-old. It's an adult that is teaching it. Yes, it's for the young people, but the adult needs to be there. The young people get a little authority, like being a prefect or being class, taking on the list. They have that authority to learn about responsibilities and learn how to be a leader, but at the same time, we need to also get that guidance. And if we think about AY that way, I think we would have more folks older folks in our AY guiding us.
Well, I am smiling from ear to ear because, it's so nice when you can hear from youths, not necessarily this is happening and that is happening and only complaints. You all are providing solutions. And, the greatest solution that you all provided there that really is the cure is mentorship. Because that is what Jesus did, He mentored his disciples, right? Discipleship is mentorship. So I hope that, we are bridging the gap, and that, those persons who are administrators and those who are in charge and those who are youth leaders, because youth leaders are not just only you and me who might be youths, but those who are the older heads, that they're listening and seeing how we can all come together, bring our ideas together and come up with solutions. Because y'all are talking about effective communication, y'all are talking about realness. So that has to do with relevance and making sure that spirituality and religiosity is also contemporary, because contemporary does not mean that you change values and principles. It's just the methodology that is a little bit different. So I am skinning from ear to ear, listening to all these great solutions that are presented, and they're so positive and is what we really need to move things forward. So let's do a little fast quiz, right? So we're going to take 3 and 3, and let's see what we can get in terms of differences of responses. And we have a question here that says, are there specific teachings of the church that need to evolve with the millennial mind? Please elaborate. Are there specific teachings of the church that need to evolve with the millennial mind? And hello, everyone. Welcome to Wanted 2. We just would have seen coming across the screen a pre-recording that was done as a form of advertisement, as a form of youths communicating to everyone around us about how they feel about certain things. So we want to call it youths raising their voices. At this point in time, I want to say a hearty welcome to you, everyone who's logged in, even on the Zoom platform, as well as those of us who are viewing on YouTube, or those of us who are logging in on Facebook, whether you're logging in from North Region Youth Advisory page itself, or from anywhere else where it would have been shared. So welcome tonight, and happy Sabbath, everyone. Are you happy to rest in God's trueness and mercy and grace, I'm very happy to do so.
Amen.
Yes, there's something about Sabbath, don't you think? You know, an opportunity to just take a moment and, as I would say goose faber and relax. So before we begin tonight's proceedings, the best way to begin is through prayer. And I would like all of us to bow our heads and close our eyes respectfully as we invite God's presence in tonight. Dear Father, thank you for being God. Thank you for an opportunity to come before you, whereby we can brainstorm solutions that can move forward, not our ministry, but your final ministry, which is to preach the gospel to all the world. Lord, continue to guide us in everything that we do and say. And as everyone who is listening in, help us to start some sort of change, some sort of revolution that will help us to continue to fight the good fight. Be with everyone here. Bless all proceedings. Be with the internet connectivity and keep us in your grace is my prayer in Jesus' name. Amen. So we've done the most important thing, which is to pray, because after you pray, all things are possible. So for those who are now coming in, as we said, happy Sabbath and welcome to Wanted To. Now, you know, it has to have an icebreaker. There must be some interaction. There must be some things that we have to do, you know, shake up, get out of your seats, etc. So tonight I'm making it a little easy for everybody, right? We're not going to get as difficult as we did the first time, you know. The second time, you know, you ease it off a little bit. So there are some things that you're going to need. And I'm going to give you about a minute to get them. So let me tell you what you're going to need. Each participant tonight is going to need a piece of paper, a pen or a pencil or a color pencil. You know, it's sometimes some of us, it's easier for us to get a pen or a pencil. I have my little tiny pencil here and I have my paper ready, right? So I'm giving you an opportunity to grab your paper, all right? So as that is going on, as we're getting ready to grab our papers, remember that you're expected to participate. Good. So I'm not going to let you just turn on your cameras as yet. You have some work to do before. So I want to read for you something and then you're going to participate. All right? So it says here that we're going to get to know each other and our leadership styles a little bit different in a funny way. And on that sheet of paper that you have there, and trust me, what you're going to do on that sheet of paper, you're going to have to hold up to your screen. So remember, participate, all right? I want you to draw a pig. Yes, I know. You're like, what? A pig? Yes, but I'm giving you 5 minutes to draw a pig, all right? So I'm going to pull back up on the screen the initial video that was going on, and you're going to get an opportunity while the youths are continuing speaking to draw that pig. Can we agree to that? Everybody could agree to that, right? That we're going to draw that pig. So we're going to open up the screen again, and we're going to go back to that video where we would have seen our youths raising their voices, all right? And everybody at this point in time should be drawing their pig, all right? Everybody, I want full participation here tonight, okay? Because it have a purpose to this. So I'm gonna put back up my screen and let's share and listen to our youths raising their voices. Good night, good morning, good everything. You know, we are here, North Region Youth Advisory, to discuss with our youth how they can get their voices out, how they can get their voices heard. You know, we had a program recently called Wanted, and this time around, we're having Wanted 2. And it's not just only about discussions about how we can bridge the gap, how we can ensure that our youth retention is there so that we have people and leaders for tomorrow. We're here to also discuss solutions. And what better way to discuss solutions by talking with the youth themselves, letting them raise their voices. So tonight I have a bunch of fun-loving young people with me, and they're going to have a nice little discourse. So I want to introduce to you Jareel. Jareel, are you there with us tonight?
Good night, everyone. My name is Jareel Kwashi, and I am from the Kumana SDA Church of the Maranatos District, right? And I am an AY leader there, and I'm looking forward to chatting with you tonight.
Nice. Hi, Jareel. So, everybody think their pig is ready for me? Y'all think you're ready or you need a little moment? You can open up your mic and talk to me. Do you need a little time? Or are you ready? Silence means consent, you know. So, I'm guessing that you are ready. All right, good. All right, nice. So, I want you all now to open up your cameras. You know we love to see the faces. Everybody, we want to get everybody on board. So everyone, as we playing homage and saying happy Sabbath, and we're getting ready to finish our icebreaker, let's all open up our cameras. Come on. Yes, join in, join in. Hi, Justin. How you going? Last time I saw you was Wanted One, right?
I'm okay.
Good. So I'm seeing people coming in. Come on, yes. Turn on those cameras. Don't be camera shy. Want to see those beautiful faces to greet us with Sabbath greetings. All right, I'm seeing them popping on slowly but surely, but they're coming to come. Come on, let's go, let's go. We can do this. We can pop on. Good. I'm seeing y'all coming on. Nice. Right. And I hope that you have those things ready for me, those drawings ready, because they serve a purpose, you know. We're going to find out about our leadership style because it's important for us to know so that we know where our strengths lie. I find I'm not seeing enough faces. Last time we had so many faces popping on. I have nobody this time to actually pick on and say, hey, you're going to be jumping on the conversation with Pastor Riley tonight. I promise you that that is not going to happen. All I want is that we can see a plethora of faces and the people getting ready to show their drawing. All right, we were supposed to draw a pig, all right? Good. So for those of us who are here, all right, whether you are the best artist or you're still trying along the way, I want you to put up your drawing of your pig. I want to see it up in the screen. Let me see what's going on there. All right, all right. I'm seeing some people. Come on, everyone. What's the beauty of fellowship if we don't do it all together, and putting up our drawings? So let's put up our drawings of our pig. Good. And I'm seeing so many familiar faces. Oh my gosh. Oh, we have some artists here. That's cool. Come on, everybody. There's so many people on the chat. Come on, let's not be shy. You want to find out. Trust me, you want to know what this is about. Good. Nice. So now that we've shown and we've said happy Sabbath in a different way, right? Let's all take off our cameras again. and we're going to find out a little bit about our leadership styles. So you're going to analyze the picture that you would have put up, and it's going to tell you a little bit about you. And you may say, but what nonsense Kafian saying here tonight, right? But the fact is that psychologists have done some work that can tell us a little bit about who we are and how we lead by how we draw. Art is a wonderful medium to communicate with the brain. So, to those persons who would have drawn their pig to the top of the paper, they're saying that you tend to be optimistic and positive. And to those of us who drew our pigs towards the middle of the paper, we tend to be realists. And for those who drew their pig to the bottom, you have a tendency sometimes to be a little pessimistic, a little negative, and maybe prone to behaving negatively. I wonder if that is you. Think about it. What about some other things about this pig that we had to draw? If your pig is facing to the left, you have a tendency to believe traditionally in family and being friendly, and you tend to be prone to remembering dates. About those of us who are turning to the right, you have a tendency to be innovative and active, and sometimes you're prone to forget a little forgetful Jones, but you have a strong sense of family. The ones that are facing front, you have a tendency to be direct and may enjoy playing the role of devil's advocate. You also are prone to neither fearing nor avoiding confrontational discussions. Does that sound familiar? Does it sound like you? Even a little bit when you analyze your pig? And when we look at those who drew their pigs with much detail, some flam, if you please, you have a tendency to be very analytical, but may also be prone to being cautious to the point that you sometimes struggle with trust. And those who had a little bit of details, a few details, you have a tendency to be emotional and to focus on the larger picture rather than focusing on details. You also have a tendency to be at risk, to a great risk taker, and may sometimes be prone to recklessness and impulsive decisions. Let's analyze our pig a little bit more. And then we have that pig that may indicate that you have 4 legs, right? You're operating with less than 4 legs. So probably you drew the face, or probably only 2 legs. This indicates that you are living through a major period of change, and as a result, you may be prone to struggle with some insecurities, right? And for those who showed our 4 legs, your pig had 4 legs. You have a tendency to be secure and to stick to your ideals. However, others sometimes may describe you as stubborn. And if you drew a pig with large ears, this indicates how good a listener you are. So the bigger, the better listener. And then we have those that introduce a tail. If your tail is long, it indicates how intelligent you are. The longer, the better. Now, this was something to think about. And you're probably wondering, why on earth are we thinking about our leadership skills? Who thought that a pig would know so much about us, right? But it helps us to really, truly narrow into who we are. You know, knowing better about yourselves moves us forward positively in growth. So now that you know a little bit about you, and I know a little bit about me, when I first did this, wow, my pig was something else. And I was shaking my head saying, Kafian, this is so much like you. So I hope that you learned something about yourself. At this point in time, we have a special feature by a really special friend of mine, and his name is Kieran Isaac. Kieran, the floor is yours.
Okay, good night, everyone. So I'm going to do an activity. So let me just share my screen. Perfect. So full screen. Just give me 1 second. The computer doesn't like me. Oh, yeah, no, not tonight, Satan. All right, great. So the name of the activity is called Who Wants to Be Wanted To? And of course, it is patterned after Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? So here's how we're going to do it. We have some trivia questions. And what we're going to do is each person will get a chance to answer one question. And you have your lifeline. So there are 50-50. If you choose 50-50, I'll eliminate half of the wrong answers. Or you can choose phone a friend. You would contact somebody in the chat. Or you could do the audience poll, where you would ask everyone in the audience to give their answer. And then you would say whether or not you agree with them, right? So without further ado, let us start. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to keep it this size because for some reason, when it's full screen, I can't see the chat as well because, like I said, this computer heats me. So just give me 1 second. All right, so if you guys want to answer the first question, you can indicate so in the chat, and I'll start with you. The first question is really, really easy. And the second question is really, really easy as well. So if you're nervous, I would recommend going with these two questions. So don't all rush, but also please all rush, because then it'll be really awkward. So yeah, it's just like some fun trivia questions. So if you want to play, just indicate in the chat and then we'll go in order. So I'm not seeing anybody rushing. I know a lot of names here in the chat, so I will start to go. Adara wants to go second. Okay, so who will go first? I will start to call names. Okay, I'm going to call. Okay, I'm giving you 5 seconds to see if you want to play. If not, I'll start calling names, right? Okay, Abila. Okay, thanks. So Abila will go first. So Abila, please turn on your camera and your mic. Abila, you there?
My camera not working.
Okay, well, as long as I could hear you, right? Okay, so the first question is really easy. It's more like a joke, if anything. So, is this the best youth talk out session you've ever attended? A, yes. B, why is this even a question? You know it is. C, of course. And D, self-praise is no praise, but yes, it's the best.
A.
I'm sorry, the answer was actually B, but thank you for playing. So let's give a round of applause for Abelia. All right, so the next question goes to Adara. Adara, you indicated in the chat that you wanted to play next.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm all right.
All right, nice. Just give me 1 second. Okay, during the Last Supper, what two things represented Jesus's blood, well, flesh and blood? Is it A, bread and wine, B, potatoes and gravy, C, locusts and honey, or D, the illegal food, doubles and red solo? So what is your answer?
I wish it was D, but A.
All right, lovely. All right, let's give it up for Dara. Thank you for playing. So next question is there. Let me go to the chat to see who's going next. Yes, Sir Charles, it is illegal, and I'm just as sad as you. Take off optimize. You get the stop share. Take it off to share. Okay, so next up, we're going with Tony.
Good night.
Nice,
I should have really
lovely.
volunteered, boy.
All right, my good, lovely, talented friend Tony.
I hope it's our next food question.
Okay, just give me 1 second. I'm going to stop share and try this again because I'm having little problems with this laptop. So stop share. All right, we're just gonna okay, we're gonna do it with the thing minimized instead of on full. I'm not sure why it's doing that. Okay, but Tony, you ready?
Yes. Hopefully I don't embarrass myself.
Nah, man, you can't do that. Okay, so I'm going to resume the share. Screen sharing has stopped. Okay, great. So everybody's seeing the PowerPoint, right?
Yeah, we see it.
Okay, great. All right, Tony. So which New Testament book tells the story of Jesus' ascension into heaven? Is it Exodus, Acts, Titus, or Matthew?
I would go with Matthew.
All right, let's see. And remember, you also have lifelines there. So if you're not too sure about Matthew, you could phone a friend, you could ask
If
the
I get
chat.
it wrong, Jesus is my only lifeline. So I'll consult him after.
Okay. Just 1 second. All right, so Matthew, I'm so sorry. The correct answer was Acts. So in Acts, it says there's a long thing on it, but I could probably send it after. They kept asking him, Lord, has your time come to free Israel and restore the story of Jesus' ascension into heaven? But thanks for playing, Tony. You're still talented and amazing, and God is still good. All right, so next up we have Renisha. And what I'm going to do, because I can't keep opening the chat, I'm going to ask Kafian to monitor the chat. I should have done this first. I'm going to ask Kafian to monitor the chat, and she will tell me who's playing, right? So,
Okay, not a problem.
Yeah, thanks. So at this time, we'll go with Renisha. I saw Renisha in the chat was really enthusiastic. We love excitement here. So Renisha, if you're there, you can turn on your camera. Renisha, are you there?
Renisha or Vakesha? Who?
I saw Renisha in the chat. That's the name I saw. So, or was it Vakesha? Who wanted to play?
Vakesha here, let's go.
Sure. Oh, Lord. So we will take Renisha and then we'll take Vakesha because I see Renisha put on her her camera already.
Nice.
So we don't have lineup there. So we know who coming after.
We love it. Okay. So what is the and also Kafian also tell me when my time is up because I don't want to go too long. So what is the collective name given to the first 5 books of the Bible? Is it the life of the life of the Israelites, the Old Testament, the story of Abraham, or the Pentateuch? Remember, you can phone a friend, you could ask the chat, or you could get like 50-50 of the answers eliminated. So what will your answer be?
D.
What's that?
D is my answer.
D? D as in dog?
Yes, D as in dog.
Okay. Wow. All right, Renisha. That was a really hard question. So props to you for knowing that. Good job. When the place open back, I'll buy you 2 doubles with slide. Unless you don't like doubles, then I will eat it, and I guess we'll just smile or something like that. All right. So Vakisha, you're next.
And then we have Mr. Kwashi supposed to come on, Jareel, and then we're going to close with Shakira McLeod.
Lovely. All right. So Vakisha, you there?
Yes, sweetheart, I'm here.
Nice, nice. All right, so what is the name of the first toolmaker mentioned in the Bible? Is it Gaius, Keturah, Tubalcain, or Tirzah? Remember, you could phone a friend, you could do 50-50, or you could poll the audience and let the audience tell you what they think, or you can just trust your instinct.
All right, let's spice it up now. Let's go to the audience.
All right, nice. So she's going to the audience. So everybody in the chat, I want you to drop which answer you think it is. And then if Akisha trusts you guys, she will go with what you guys said. So audience, I want to see you drop in some answers.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Oh my God, these answers are so varied. Person wants to buy a vowel, wrong game show. Wrong game show. You might have to switch networks for that one. They come on after us. I'm seeing so many different
Let me see.
answers.
B, B, D. Nah, boy.
Wow,
I
these
feel
answers.
I feel I had to go with my hunch here, yes?
And you could use more than one lifeline if you want to. You could also do a next lifeline, because I feel like all these answers are so opposite.
Well, I remember I don't know if that's how you spell it though, but I know something with Tubalcain, but it had a C. So I don't know if it's the same thing. So
Well, you wanna go with it?
Let's go with C. Let's go with C.
What?
Yeah!
All right, Rikisha.
Boom!
I love it. When things open back, 2 doubles with slide. I mean, 2 gluten pies. Wink, wink. All right. All right, who's next?
So we have Mr. Kwashi, and then we have Shakira.
And Shakira would end it, right?
Yes.
Okay, nice. So okay, Kwashi, how are you? Good, nice. So what is Jesus's fourth miracle? Was it he cleansed a man with leprosy? He healed a man who was unable to speak? He healed Peter's mother-in-law who was sick with fever? Or did he walk on water? Remember, you can use lifelines as well. You could ask the chat. You could do 50-50. Or you could phone a friend.
You gotta start off with that 50-50.
All right, so let's do 50-50. All right, so it's between C and D. So to be between Jesus healed Peter's mother-in-law who was sick with fever, and he walked on water. So you could use more than one lifeline if you want.
And Jesus walked on water after the disciples were discouraged and he went back to find them. So I think that would be a little later down. So I'd have to go with C.
All right, C, final answer. And you're correct. All right. Good job, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, 5,000, boy. Wait.
All right, so when lockdown over, Kwashi on the doubles list. All right, so to close us off, we'll have, who is it? Kafian?
Shakira.
Shakira. Oh, that's a fancy name. Shakira, where you?
No way, Kieran. No way.
You probably get that so much. All right, Shakira, where you there?
Yes. She can't turn on her camera, but she is there.
Okay, nice. All right, so what does the phrase Jehovah Shammah mean? Does it mean A, he is God, B, God himself, C, God is there, or D, God is always present? You can phone a friend by asking somebody in chat, or you could do 50-50, or you could ask the whole audience to give their input. So what do you think it is?
Can I do this 50-50?
Sure. Okay, for some reason it disappeared. But okay, so if I'm eliminating two answers, so two answers that are incorrect are A and D.
Okay.
So it's between God himself and God is there. You could use more than one lifeline if you want to.
Okay, can the audience give their opinions?
Sure, so we go into the chat. So audience, Shakira needs a help. It's between B and C. So I guess this time it might be a little more leaning towards one way. So you can go with B or C. I'm seeing a lot of C's. Wow.
Yeah, seeing a lot of C's.
Wow. C is for cookie. All right, well, Shakira, Shakira, I mean, I don't think it gets any more resounding than that. So Shakira, are you going to go with the audience?
Yes, I'm going with the audience.
All right, so the answer is C is what Shakira is choosing, and she's correct.
Yay!
All right, so that was a nice way to close us up. So I just have one closing statement to say, and that is the purpose of this activity, even though we had some glitches in the beginning, it was more of like an interesting way, well, a new and interesting way to us to study the scripture. I know people always say the church is not about entertainment, but I believe that spreading God's word and captivating the attention of youth do not have to be mutually exclusive. I found a beautiful quote which says, the Bible isn't for motivational purposes and cute quotes. It's the transforming, life-changing, curse-breaking, soul-refreshing, flesh-cutting word of God. So I love this quote that Rhonda told me. You know, people say the youth are the future, but the youth we are now, right? So just find, you know, ways to study to show yourself approved. And churches, I think there's nothing wrong with finding more captivating ways to, well, I hope this was captivating to you know, to get the youth involved. If anyone wants this template, just private message me, and I'll make myself available to share it or similar links or to help you plan any cool programs or anything like that. Yeah, so much love, and thanks again for your participation, and I hope you guys enjoyed the rest of the program. All right, so take care.
Thank you, Kieran. Thank you so much for sharing with us. Indeed, it was an excitement. All right. I saw some things on the chat there that had me like, yes, man. We have some people jumping on and participating and helping each other. You know, it carried us back to, you know, Pathfinder Club. You know, Pathfinder Club operates on something that's called a physical, mental, and spiritual tripod. So we saw some mental activity and some spiritual activity, and some of us, we even got a little physical activity by making sure we put up our hands utilizing those icons on Zoom. So now we have something here called a flashback. What are we flashing back on? We're flashing back on Wanted, the first one. We had some panelists come on board, sitting down with Pastor Riley, having a discussion about the real issues that youths face in terms of this gap in our outreach and even our in-reach in terms of between our membership. And we really had some heart-to-heart, and we had some great solutions even coming out of it. Now, as we would have reflected, we know for certain that there's a need to continue this conversation, and that is why we are here in Wanted 2. It's important for you to know as youths and as our youth leaders that you are wanted, you are needed to further the work. And as Kieran would have said, we are not just the future, but we are the now, all right? So without further ado, I want to then call the man for the hour. I want to introduce to you a well-known face, and that is Pastor Steve Riley. Pastor, are you here with us tonight?
I think I'm here. Are you hearing me?
Of course, I'm hearing you loud and clear.
Okay. Well, once you hear me, I know everybody can.
All right. So the floor is yours. Please ensure that you have a great time with the youths. It's all about solutions, solutions, solutions. So the floor is yours, Pastor.
All right, good evening to everybody, and thank you for joining us again for Wanted 2. I rather suspect that there are some new faces on the chat. Can you get into this screen? So sorry about that. Yes, rather suspect that there are some new faces with us. Um, but I am happy to be a part of this experience. I was in conversation with one of the organizers and who is believing that we would have this as an ongoing series until we could garner enough, not just furnish you with information, but get you working together because this is a new experience for all of us. The last time we were here, we had a very vibrant discussion on where we are and where we can be and where we need to be, where we should not have been and where we should not be. So today we are continuing in that vein. However, I should warn you that at some point we are going to have breakout sessions or going into breakout rooms to do an exercise that I consider to be quite necessary as we try to develop our skills for leadership in this time. Thank you, Kafian, and I did enjoy thoroughly the who wants to be wanted. I am sorry we could not have gone up to the 1 point whatever million doubles, but I suppose as it's an ongoing series, we will have enough time, Kiran. So keep it in mind. We will continue from where we left off.
Indeed.
So, what are we going to do this evening? First of all, let me recap a bit because there are some new faces. I wanted to touch a little bit on some of the things that we would have discussed in our last session. We looked at how the pandemic has affected us here in Trinidad and affected our youth program, our church. What was church like pre-pandemic or pre-COVID? What is it like now? And how is it going to be post-COVID? We heard some frank and open discussions and opinions about what should not have been in the church, what we could do better. I consider this period really as a grand opportunity for us to reset, to press the reset button and to look at our church critically, because you would appreciate that the pandemic would have exposed us in more ways than one. These online programs would have sought to help us to see ourselves and our operational style of worship and all the other things. There are some people who have become professionals in the area of aesthetics. When you look at programs online now, you are asking, why is that curtain looking like that? Or why is that backdrop like that? Why did they put that plant there? When the truth is, the plant was always there pre-COVID, but you never paid attention. But now that you are online, you are looking at things with a critical eye, and rightly so. And I suppose we were meant to do that before, but we took things for granted because we're all in the church together. We all were doing the same thing, so to speak. Somebody talked about the fact that they could stay home and anticipate what's going to happen at exactly 10 o'clock, 10:30, 11 o'clock, 11:30. There are some persons that you enjoyed listening to, but when you hear them online, you're wondering what on earth is she talking about or what on earth is he doing, when the truth is you never had a challenge before, because that's what online does. It gives you a critical eye, especially when you are not participating in the experience. I took note of one particular individual on the chat, I wouldn't call the person's name, who said, my church is boring, even though the person is an ardent member, a very active member of the church. But being honest and open, the whole question of looking at church and how we do things has come to the fore. And I appreciate it, and I relish openness. I like to be real with us, with all our young people, because that's where you are and that's how we need to be. So what are we going to do? What are we going to do this evening? I want to refer you to a particular text, and I know I have screen sharing ability, but I just wanted to hold a second, please. Yeah. Just give me 1 second as I do some adjustments here. I know some of you already have the ability to, well, remember text, and I wanted to look at a specific text that can be useful for our discussion today. This is 1 Samuel chapter 17, verses 39 and 40. Of course, this is the NIV, so it will be rendered slightly different from the KJV to which we have grown accustomed. David fastened on his sword over the tunic and tried walking around because he was not used to them or used to them. I cannot go in these, he said to Saul, because I am not used to them. So he took them off. Then he took his staff, in his hand, chose 5 smooth stones from the stream, put them in the pouch of his shepherd's bag, and with his sling in his hand, approached the Philistine. All right, what does it have to do with our program this evening? Well, I'm so glad you asked. Here's what I wanted to look at, because I don't know if you got a chance to listen to the interview between Kathy and the young people that was played before we actually got live or became live. And if you haven't, it'd be good for you to get a copy of it. I don't know if it will be shared in the chat or sent to your phones, but it would be a good opportunity for you to look at it. I think it's just about 40 minutes long, and the discussion was very insightful. But in most of the responses to the question, what I was getting is that they want support from our seniors, and that's well in place. They would want to have more persons coming out to our young people's meetings, and I agree with that. In fact, that is a long-standing concern, even when I was AY leader. And I should tell you, like Ariel said she became an AY leader, the head AY leader, when she was first asked to be the AY leader. She had never had any experience prior to being an AY leader. So when she was thrust into the position, she became the head. I had a similar experience, and I was 17, Ariel. I think you said you were 18. My first experience, and I was baptized when I was 15, and I became a head AY leader 2 years later. And so it was a bit challenging to get into that position and to understand what is required of you. But we had a great time because I had other AY leaders who were there before, and I drew from their experience, and we were very creative in how we approached AY. But the concern was still there. It may not have been as pronounced as it might be in your area, but there were concerns about the senior people coming out. And I think, let's be honest, some senior people don't come out, not because they don't want to support, but as far as they're concerned, church ends at midday or whenever the midday service is finished. Anything else is bonus. So they're not coming out, or their lack of coming out is not because they don't want to have anything to do with young people. Just maybe not feeling to come back out, especially based on where they're living. But another important question you have to ask yourself, while you are pointing fingers at the seniors, where are our youth? Isn't it true that youth do not support youth programs as well? Do you not have a paucity of attendance when it comes to youth programs? And is it not true that when you are not the AY leader or an AY leader, that you really don't come to AY service as often as you used to when you were in the position? So it is also true that youth do not support youth. And in some AYs, you might find more seniors or more persons who are senior to youth, or senior youth, if you will, coming out than the youth themselves. So there is a cry and a call and an appeal for young people to support young people. But is our program attracting the attention of the youth as well? But another facet we have to look at is that I think we put too much pressure on ourselves in understanding the whole operation of the church. One, you do not need to plan a sophisticated program for Sabbath morning. You don't. People just have the tradition of coming out on a Sabbath morning. They don't concern themselves with who the superintendent might be, who is singing. They may want to know who's preaching, but they're not coming out simply because it's an extraordinary program. So you might be shooting yourself in the foot by saying, well, maybe we need to spruce up our programs, and perhaps you need to, but the culture of attending church is really about how people value the day itself. In other words, if the youth program was in the morning, and Sabbath school was in the afternoon, Sabbath school will be complaining that people don't come out to Sabbath school. It has nothing to do with whether the youth program is of quality or not. It's just about the custom and the tradition. That's where we are. And you know that when you go home on a Sabbath afternoon after church, it takes a lot for you to get back up out of your bed if you happen to come out of your bed and go back to AY. It takes a lot. Let's be honest. It takes a lot. Even if you're living not too far from the church, even if you are accustomed going AY, sometimes it takes a little bit out of you, except, of course, you are part of the program. All right. Having said that, if, for instance, the senior people do not support your program anymore, they have decided that they're not coming on, no matter how much you appeal to the pastor, you appeal to the first elder, and no matter what they do, the senior people are not coming back out. Are you going to still chastise them for the lack of proper planning for youth programs? Let me put it another way. If you had the opportunity of resetting church service, what will you do? If it was now placed in your hands, we are now at the ground level, ground zero, and we want to start over church service. What would you do differently? I've heard a lot of people, young people, complain that the program is too monotonous. But you know something? You put the same program in the hands of young people to plan an AY week of prayer, and guess what happens? The same monotony takes place. You get somebody to do a song service, you get somebody to maybe to do a poem or spoken word here and there, and a preacher, singer and a preacher. Not much has changed. You fall into the same rut. So what are you going to do if you are going to make a difference, an impact? And the first target group you must look at is not necessarily the church, but the community in which you belong. And here is where I want to show a video, because I want you to start thinking way outside of the box, but it's not even outside of the box, it's really within the box. If you were to plan a program to facilitate the needs of the visually impaired, what kind of program will you plan? Let's suppose 80% of your congregation were visually impaired, which means they have to see the programs through their ears. How different will your program be? Secondly, if your congregation were 80% hearing impaired, which means they have to now hear the program through their eyes, how different will your program be? Now, the reason why I'm saying it's out of the box and yet within the box is that there are such people within our congregation. There are people who are visually impaired. There are people who are hearing impaired. Apart from those, we have the people from different ethnicities and people who speak a different language. We have a host of venues here. And if they were to come to your church, but to see your program, they cannot understand. So in a sense, they are hearing impaired. They cannot understand what you're doing by what they're hearing, but they have to be able to hear what you are saying by what they are seeing. How different will your programs be? One of the comments that came through the interview was, we need to package the programs differently. And I thoroughly agree. We have to package the programs differently. Why, therefore, do we need to do that? Because we are ever evolving as a society. Years ago, we could not have been thinking about TikTok, but now TikTok and Instagram is on our doors. And we have to understand that the time span of our youth is quite different. So how do we package our program to cater for the youth of today? How different will our programs be? Now, here is where I want to go to the video. If there are any questions, please ask them now before I switch over to the video. I hope I could find that video. Hold a sec here. All right. Yes, are there any questions so far? No questions? All right. Well, now I'm going to show a video that I want you to look at it carefully and then tell me what you have learned from the video and what are lessons to be, what you have learned and what are some of the lessons that you can share with others. Look at it carefully. The whole thing is it's not, there are no words being spoken. So you have to look at it and visualize it and tell me what you make of it. All right, here we go. Great. Now, I hope you got a chance to look at that. So I want to get some responses. What have you learned from the video? Anything particularly stood out for you? If there are any lessons, if there's anything that you can share.
Don't take things for granted.
Don't take things for granted. Okay, very well. Anything else?
I will say there's safety in the cage. The cage within church. Church. There's safety in the cage, meaning the cage could be used as church, and something and sometimes wanting to come out and to venture into the world or the unknown could be to our own demise.
Oh, wow. You think deep there, boy. That's interesting. All right, great. Thank you.
To show and not tell. Like as in our services, we need to show, not just say what we're doing, not just say what we mean, but like show and like that. I could, as someone said in the chat, you could understand everything that was going on. And you didn't even have to hear words.
Right. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Pastor, well, I saw a couple of things there, and I saw that where danger lurked, there were many opportunities for escape, but does not mean that there was less danger. Secondly, I would have seen that the distractions from the purpose of escaping, right, caused somewhat more issues in terms of he locked himself in, the dog kept clamoring. So sometimes when we go away from our central purpose, whatever it is, and we get distracted, we can cause more issues for ourselves, and staying calm in a difficult and stressful situation might just be the solution you needed.
Wow, that was salient, quite deep. Did anybody hear the dog barking? Anybody saw or heard the dog barking?
Definitely.
Oh, you heard the dog barking?
Oh, saw the dog barking.
Okay. All right. Now, and I hear, it's interesting that you were able to derive these lessons, and I'm sure there are other persons who can demonstrate or show why, what they got from it. But what was interesting for me is that, and this is the point, and somebody saying, don't play with the devil. Don't play with, somebody said, don't trouble until trouble troubles you. That's a old people saying, and you're correct. And look at many lessons you're getting from what you have seen and not necessarily what you have heard. There wasn't any communication via the dog, the lion, the tiger, Charlie Chaplin, and the woman who came. None of it, there was no voice, nothing was heard, yet you were able to glean the messages. So this particular clip could be shown to people who are hearing impaired, and the lessons are learned from it. What, therefore, are the ingredients that will be necessary to impact such people is what I wanted us to look at, or want us to look at this evening. In other words, if you are going to portray a program, because really, though we have 5 senses, they say we have 5 senses, the sense of hearing, tasting, touching, seeing, smelling, and they say women have a 6th one, and generally, I think we all have the sense of faith as well. When all of these other senses don't work, faith also comes into play. But when it comes to a program that is either impacting upon us or not so much impacting, 2 major senses play a significant role: the sense of hearing and the sense of seeing. Once you can see certain things, it helps you to appreciate what is being said. Therefore, how you say something could help somebody to see what you are saying. How you say it, not just what you say. So even a simple thing as how you read a text in the church can impact the hearing impaired by how you read it. How you sing a song can impact them. How you communicate. So you may need some words that have imagery that could now paint a picture in the mind of not just the hearing impaired, the visually impaired, but the hearing impaired. When they see you on the stage, you would observe, you talk about the cage, you talk about the dog holding onto his pants, but Charlie Chaplin's reaction himself, the whole body language gave a sense of what was taking place. At one point, he was terrified, and then at some point, he became so, calm and casual. He was proud because he felt the lion couldn't do anything. He was able to go close to him and nothing happened. The way he did that told you that he felt assured of himself, confident in himself, maybe a little proud, that he was able to stand in a cage with a lion. All of these go to well in making a presentation effective, which we sometimes take for granted. Your body language, the props you use, all of these things can help accentuate certain points you wish to make, especially if you're talking to people who are impaired in one way or another. Any questions? Because I'm going to now take time to break out into rooms, and we don't have much time. It's now 8 o'clock. Are there any questions? Right. Now, when you get into these sessions, in these breakout rooms, I'm not sure how many of them we would divide you into. We have 80, well, at least 80 persons on this chat at present. I know there are people looking on from YouTube. I understand that they might enter into their own chat room on YouTube, so they could communicate. You can begin communicating with one another. But this is very critical to the developmental process of our experience as new normal young people, new normal youth. All right. When you get into the groups, I want you to select somebody unanimously, well, not unanimously necessary, but somebody to be your leader, right? To direct the affairs, to direct the discussion. And it will be important for the youth leader or whoever is in charge to get the names of all those persons who are in his or her group at the time. It will be necessary. And even those of you on YouTube, you can do the same thing. I don't know how you will be able to get the names. Some people may not want to volunteer stuff on YouTube. You have to find your own unique way. But if you wish to be a part of this, it's good if you can join the chat, get the link and join. But I am just facilitating this experience as was asked. All right, so you get, maybe before we break out, I will maybe ask one of the organizers to speak a little bit about that. But here's what I wanted to do. I want each group, and I will need to get a sense as to how many groups there are going to be. But there should be 2 types of groups that are formed. One group is going to form or talk about creating a program that you believe can minister effectively to the hearing impaired. And the other group, of course, is going to talk about constructing a program or ministry that would impact the visually impaired. I would leave it up to the organizers to decide how these groups will be formed, whether it's 2 major groups or smaller groups. I think we might need smaller groups because 8 is a lot of people and I want more participation. You're going to spend just about 10 minutes, no more. So you have to talk as fast as you can, but 10 minutes. You have to get the names and the leader in 2 minutes, and the rest of the 8 minutes, you're going to get that information, that program, series of program or one program. I understand there would be 16 groups that will be formed. So 16, some of you could do the maths, 16 by how many will make 80? You all could do the maths. I am not into that right now. But all right, so Kafian, could you direct us as to how we are going to get these groups organized? 16,
all right, no problem, Pastor. So what is going to happen is that everybody is going to get an invitation to join a room. You're going to press yes, and that is going to take up a couple of seconds and transfer you to another room. In that room, then you will see those who are in groups 1 to 8, right? Because it's going to put you in a numbered form. So groups 1 to 8 will deal with those who are visually impaired, and then 9 to 16 will then deal with the hearing impaired. All right, everybody, I hope that that is clear. So I am creating the rooms now, and everybody.
Before you do that, Kafian, please give your group a name.
No problem. All right.
So we will maybe take 12 minutes instead. So give your group a name, a quick name by which you can identify the members.
Okay. So everyone, you would have received your invitations. Please accept and move into your room spaces. All right. and we will give some messages. And so I'm opening all rooms at this point in time. You should see on your screen the actual invitation. And please just accept. All right, so I'm gonna move some people to a room here. Okay, I'm gonna move this one in a smaller room. So J. Marie, I'm going to move you if you're listening. Please accept that invitation. Pastor Riley, you need not accept an invitation. There are some people who still have not accepted their invitation to move into their rooms. So if you're not seeing your invitation, just let me know. So I'm seeing Angel George, Christine Walker, H. Ruiz, Dwayne Smith. All right, and for our YouTube viewers, please remember that you can actually partner off into your rooms. So to our YouTube persons, we are Miss Cheryl Sam. She's there with you, right? Cheryl Knight Sam, and she's there to actually moderate that conversation on our YouTube chat, as well as one of our other North Advisory Youth Council members, Mr. Samuel Ellis. So please feel free to dialogue, and you can actually choose to deal with the hearing impaired. So we're asking all our members who are currently on this chat here to please move into your breakout groups so that you can accept your invitation. So I'm seeing H. Ruiz, Christine Walker, Dwayne Smith, Peaches Daniel, Christopher Walcott, Shakira McLeod, Please, and Frank and Josiah Saunders and Marian Joseph, please accept your invitation to the room that you would have been sent to as we look forward to trashing out our ideas to come up with programs to help the differently abled.
On Genesia.
Back now because I think most persons seem to be here.
Okay, closing all rooms now. Let's wind up with our discussions. So people will jump back.
Okay, are we all together here now?
Yes, Pastor, we are.
All right. I suspect we would have lost a few of them because some people don't like to be too intimate, but that's quite all right. I just took note that we have with us our youth director of the South Caribbean Conference, Pastor Wayne Jeffrey. Welcome, sir. And I am glad that you could join us. I'm hoping that your contributions to this experience would be valuable. Well, I know that it would be. All right. So we have an estimate of 60 plus persons. I know we may not have time for every person to respond, but what I want to first of all make clear that even though I asked you to look at programs that could facilitate the hearing impaired and the visual impaired, the intent of that is really not for you to be thinking that, okay, I'm going to be planning a program for persons who are visually impaired specifically. What I'm trying to get you to do is to incorporate the senses, all the critical senses that are necessary to making a program effective. In the event that a visually impaired comes by, they would not be lost in the program. I remember going to Suriname some years ago, and of course, I had to use a translator in order to communicate. But when I sat down in Sabbath school, I'm hearing all these voices speaking, and I was lost. I just sat in the back or on a chair by myself, waiting until the time for speaking came. And you know how long that would be from Sabbath school way up to midday service. So I was at a disadvantage as to what was happening until somebody came by and sat down. And when the first superintendent went back on the platform, the person was able to translate what was being said. So it could be a lonely experience. You could feel, so out of place or out of sorts when you're in the midst of a congregation that speaks a language that is different from yours. That could also be true for the hearing impaired. It could also be true for the visually impaired. But then there are people who are not either visually impaired or hearing impaired, but they still feel alone. They feel lost. The program is not appealing. The program is not attractive. And that is the purpose for your exercise, to see how you can, sort of make the programs or programming more effective. And I wish we had more time. We, as I said, this is perhaps to be ongoing, because there are some things I'd want you to look at critically, so as to sharpen your skills as leaders. All right, so let's get some responses. I don't know which team, and I don't know if you were able to give yourselves a name, but which team of persons will want to respond. I don't know who the teams were, so I can't call any names. So I'm leaving it up to.
Probably I could help you.
Sure.
All right.
Sure.
So we have team 1 with Dominique, Kieran, Kishon, and Mars. Could the person who is representing that team feel free to put on your camera if you can, and let's discuss or share.
Right. Hi, good night, everyone. So yeah,
to meet Kieran.
Yeah. Right. So we came up with the name. The group name is Chosen.
Okay.
Right. So I like it. It's like, I guess we're chosen to spread the gospel. So we got inspiration from when we thought about the people being visually impaired. We immediately thought of when you listen to like a radio program, you think of like audio, songs, poetry, that kind of thing. So we wanted to have a program patterned after that kind of thing. So it would be like an evening of music with singing, poetry, because and as someone said, the music would bring good vibes and it would still spread the spirit of God. And you could get that feeling with music whether you can see or not. Like I know a lot of blind singers. There's this girl on Tree, and I can't remember her name, but she can't see, and when she sings and she plays that piano, she moves everybody. So so that's the kind of vibe that we wanted. And we were also thinking, just because they can't see doesn't mean we should rule out having a skit. We were thinking, somebody mentioned that there was a skit once where they focused a lot on like sound effects and that kind of thing. So we want to have skits still, but since they can't see, we want to put extra emphasis on all the sound effects so they could still get the holistic vibe of it. So that's essentially what we came up with. Yeah.
Good. Beautiful. And I like that. And what I'm saying to your group, therefore, is don't do it only when there are visually impaired persons in your congregation. That is what a program was meant to be like, whether or not they are present. So I'm happy for that contribution indeed. And take into consideration all the senses is necessary. Any other group? And I'm trying to get as many persons to respond as possible. Thank you, Kieran.
So I'm seeing group 2 here with Cindy York, A. Truez, Justin Brewster, and the Pearson.
Good night. That was unexpected. So hi, we were back and forth. It was only 3 of us. Well, as you just mentioned. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
So we also had, visually impaired.
You had a name for your group?
The name of the group is Brighter Life.
Excuse me. All right, go ahead.
Right. The theme that we were under was the light not seen but felt for our program.
Okay.
Right. We didn't really get to trash out everything, but we do have some of the basics. We said that upon catering for the visually impaired, we will have the assistance by the hospitality team. Well, this is from my church. We do have hospitality team and the ushers at the door to have them seated a little more up front so that they can hear the program properly rather than being seated far at the back.
Right.
And also closer to where they can have a proper exit to go to the restrooms and these stuff.
Right.
Right. We also said that we will provide a program outline in Braille to facilitate them so that they can follow along with the program.
Okay.
So that way we wouldn't outline, okay, meaning if there's a scripture reading or a song that is being sung for the praise and worship on these things, or a Bible text being read, this information will be given to them so that they can follow along and know what is happening next.
Right. Beautiful.
Right.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I'm
Sorry.
not sure if you
Yeah, I'm hearing it.
So we said that we will have an icebreaker that will incorporate both. We didn't even decide if this was a morning or evening program.
That's all right.
But we did say that we'll have an icebreaker to incorporate like an obstacle whereby we'll blindfold persons to incorporate the visually impaired and those that are not impaired, to kind of have a idea or concept, how does it feel? So
okay,
that way is like an obstacle where they have to go through certain things, and someone will be guiding them through that.
All right.
We also say we will include music, since they can hear and they will be able to feel the sense of the service and also worship in that area.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And to include them into the program for testimonies, and to have the person who is preaching to be visually impaired.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Right.
Interesting. That's
So,
it?
Pastor, we have sorry, Sherelle.
Oh, she's finished. She's finished.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so I have room 9 with Curleen Alexander, Tiloxen, Katie Watson, Renisha Bishop, Sir Charles, and Pastor Wayne Jeffrey.
Let's go.
So the representative from that group could feel free to turn on their cameras and their microphones and share with us.
All right, good night. If past time going, I will go. We looked at the visually impaired, and we took the route of a social. With a social, well, you have your open prayer, your welcome, thing, whatever, and we incorporate Braille games so that they will be able to participate as well. We also have the usual chant and response, the football game, so that they will be able to hear and to participate as well. So our social is what we looked at as our church program.
Did you guys come with a name for your group?
No, we didn't.
All right. I'll call it Sir Charles for the while.
Wow.
Love that name, Sir Charles.
All right. So I'm seeing group 16 who probably can give us some insight. Ariel Brown, Deborah, Isaac, Gabriel, Marian Joseph, and Safia Soline.
All right. Okay. So our group is
Hey, here
3S.
comes Ariel.
Yeah. Our group is 3S because we had me from San Juan, 2 people from Safari, and somebody from 7th Avenue Malik. So we are 3S. Okay, so we planned a program for the hearing impaired, but you would see that any things that we plan to do, there are things that you can incorporate into a regular church program that would help for any hearing impaired visitors. Okay, so we decided that for this program that you will include somebody who is hearing impaired or who relates frequently with the hearing impaired to help us better be able to reach those persons into the planning. And we will have a lot of sign language, special music. We'll have a lot of dramatization with everybody who is taking part in the program wearing costumes to make the entire program more visually exciting. We'll play videos with closed captions. We'll have a lot of mimes. We also have deaf participation. We will have, for the praise and worship segment of the program, we will have music with heavy bass. so that they'll be able to feel the vibrations better and be able to enjoy the music. We would have sign language, so we would try to get an interpreter. If we don't, then we would also be using assistive technology for the program. We also want that one of the deaf persons or somebody who knows a bit of sign language to teach the rest of the congregation one or two words or a line in sign language to incorporate everybody so that we have learning on both sides. Also, we were decided that we would have maybe the main segment or large segments if the persons could have a written layout of what they will do, so we could have the deaf persons being able to follow along while we go through that if we don't have a sign language interpreter. Also, we decided that we must respect their uniqueness because, you know, there's a whole culture behind those who are hearing impaired, and they don't see themselves as having a disability because they were born with it and they learn how to cope with it. They don't want our pity, they just want to be included into the worship. So I don't think I missed anything. Yes, that's what we have.
Very well. Thank you. Thank you. Was there a sense of excitement, Ariel, in your planning this, putting it together? Did
yes,
you get
there was.
Okay. Yeah, I picked it up in your voice. All right, let's get another one.
So we have group 8 with Afia Cunningham, Cheryl Knight Sam, Jean-Marc McCoy, Jareel Kwashi, and Jordan Edwards.
Yes, go.
All right, so good night again, everyone. But by executive, you all see me, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I can't see myself right now.
All right.
By executive decision, I have named the group the Wedding Planners because we didn't get to name the group as we were discussing, and I was
Lord Father.
I was volunteered to be leader, right?
Okay.
So we decided that we want to focus on the theme of our wedding because we were dealing with the visually impaired and link that to the second coming, right? Christ is returning for his bride. So we want to focus on 3 people who would be in the wedding. A procrastinator, someone who is ready to return with Christ, and someone who has their own righteousness, so who is dressing inappropriately. So what we decided to do, how we decided to present it, is in the form of dramatic readings and monologues and testimonies, right? To make sure that the hearing is really incorporated into the program. So this program will require a really great sound system. It's surround sound and everything. So you really pick up the smaller intonations. So for the procrastinator, we wanted to get someone into a slow voice with a drawl, right? And they would speak about how we're putting out things. They would talk about some of the excuses that people give every day about why they're not ready right now for Christ's second return. And all these stories will be planned so that they'll be able to really get into the flow of it, see the descriptive language you come across for the visualization. The person who is ready wants an upbeat, positive and optimistic voice. And we want this person to give a testimony about something they saw in this world that is making them more and more excited for heaven, right? And we want the person who is dressing inappropriately with their own righteousness to have a kind of haughty voice. And another way we were thinking of enhancing our program, because they are visually impaired, we were thinking of including some tactile sensations. So at the beginning of the program, everyone who's entering will receive a little bag with some materials in it. As you go through the program, we will tell them, go into the bag, and as we're speaking, feel for this, feel for that. And these materials will correspond to what is going on in the program, so they enhance the atmosphere of the program. We're also thinking about having some soft but steady background music and playing on the wedding theme, right? To get the senses engaged as they go through the program. And we also, another thing that came out was that we need to have great lighting because the visually impaired are not all totally blind, right? Some people have light perception, some people don't, and with the lighting, you could use the lighting to emphasize during high points and in low points in the program, right? To really control the mood and get the people involved in what is going on, and that would be how our program would run.
Wow, you did all of that in that short space of time. My goodness. Jerry, was there a sense of excitement?
Yes, this group was very excited.
Yeah.
Great to work with.
Yeah, I see it. Any of you getting married soon?
I don't think so.
Wow. If you're not getting married and so excited you are, I can imagine when that day comes. Lord have mercy. Thank you. Thank you. Let's get another group in.
So we could go to group 11, Kezia Quash, Lennis, and Rosalind Ashbrewster. Okay. Anybody, any representatives from this group? Okay, if there is not, we have a group here with Miss Ironside, Paul, Athleen Ironside, Christopher Walcott, and Cheyenne Edwards, group 6.
Let's go group 6, come on.
Hi, yes, group 6, we have called ourselves the Mountain Movers. And our program would be focused on the lady with the issue of blood. That would be the stories that will build up our theme.
Right.
We will, for special music, we will have sign language to go along with the music.
You are dealing with which of the
Oh,
impaired?
sorry, we are doing with the hearing impaired.
Okay, all right.
So I don't know how many people are familiar with when people do special music and they have people doing the miming or the sign language with the gloves on. Right. So we'll be doing that. And that will also be a great connection to break down communication barriers because most likely youths are the ones involved in that and they are taught that in whatever group that they'll be in, Pathfinders, Adventurers, etc. So that'll be a great communication barrier for them to communicate with other youths that are with the youths that are hearing impaired and they could make friends, so on. We really wanted to focus on a skit and we really wanted to put emphasis on open body language, expressiveness, a lot of movement. During the skits, we wanted to really bring to life the emotion, the desperation, the exhaustion, and the time that the lady that was suffering in the story of God. We really wanted to bring that to fruition, and for the narration to make sure that everything is being followed. We have a screen with subtitles or I forget what you call it, stage directions. You know what I'm referring to on the screen?
Well, subtitles is the one I think you were referring to.
Yeah, subtitles and scripture. You would have been referring to Mark 5:25 to 34. And that is really what we had planned and we were focusing on for our program.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Wow. You guys getting me excited about this thing. How many more groups again we have,
I have a few, but I'm looking at the ones that have a good bit of people in it. So I'm seeing HDC, MacRack.
What trouble is this? Bring them on, sister. Bring them on.
Ruston family and Shanice.
Yeah, so bring them on.
That is group 12.
Good evening, everyone. This is group 12. Our group was pretty small, even though we had quite a few names, with just 2 persons really participated. That was myself, Soris. I'm not HTC, I'm Soris. And Shanice.
HTC next to your name.
It's just an acronym, the HTC.
Okay. All right.
So our group, we had to deal with the hearing impaired, and we chose the name Gifted Hands because persons who are hearing impaired use their hands to communicate, and their hands are gifted.
Right.
What we said mainly for our program, we're going to have plenty pre-recorded segments, and in those pre-recorded segments,
the program is Gifted Hands, or the group is Gifted Hands?
No, the group
programs?
is gifted hands. Group is gifted hands.
Okay, okay, all right, just making sure. Go ahead.
No, the group is gifted hands. We don't have a name. Aaron, I don't have HTC houses, sorry. So the group is gifted hands. So everything will be pre-recorded basically, and we will be doing split screens mainly. Many times when we're looking at television and we have the interpreter, they are normally in a small box in the corner. But for our program, we're going to have it as half the screen with the interpreter, half the screen with the person who is speaking. And with the person who is speaking, we will have the words on the bottom of the screen as well.
Right.
Our program that day will be a drama production, which will kind of help them to kind of understand. If they can't actually hear, they could understand what is being done.
Right.
And also what we said, we're going to have a program. So even if they can't read as fast as things are happening on the screen, they could follow in the program for the program layout, so they will kind of know what is actually coming. Also, the person, whoever is speaking at the mic, we encourage them to speak extra slow, because most persons who are hearing impaired, they can read lips pretty well. So that was our main things for our group. Thank you.
Wow, so you would not invite Pastor Dutton to speak, would you, right? All right, there you go.
Well, we have to train him. We'll have to train him.
Oh, you train him. All right.
Yes, we'll have training as well.
Okay, excuse me. All right, gifted hands.
So, Pastor, we have Kristen McMew, Janelle or Janelle, I hope I pronounce it properly, Adams, and Michelle for group 3.
All right.
Hi, good night, everyone. Good night. Hi.
Good night, Kristen.
I see the name of our group, which contain me, Miss Malika, although her name is Michelle, written there as Malika or Malika, and Janelle Adams, right?
All right.
Yeah, so our group's name was Interactive Vision. Now we focus on an interactive story, and this will be done through online means. In this day and age, well, in 2021, we are faced with a lot of busy people. So we would want to create a program that will be accessible to those who may not be able to enter a live session. So they should be able to access a website on their own terms, right? At their own designated time. Now, the purpose of this particular part of the website would be telling Bible stories or Bible-based stories in an interactive way. And what does interactive mean? Interactive means that you could change the course of the story, as in your choices could determine how the narrative will play. And this is not exclusive to persons who are visually impaired, right? So our focus is on the visually impaired. So we're gonna talk about how we're gonna accommodate the visually impaired in our program. So first and foremost, visually impaired does not mean totally blind. It could mean that you're colorblind. It can mean that you have short-sightedness or different. There's a whole spectrum of what visually impaired means. So how are we going to target all of that? We are going to have the options of clearly defined text descriptions. You're going to have the option for enlarge and changing the font of text on the website. We're also going to have the option that desktop users will be able to access the mobile version and vice versa. Because sometimes looking at a website on your smartphone, the mobile layout isn't too friendly. So we need to have option to switch between the desktop and the mobile version. We're also gonna take into consideration the contrast of the screens, because sometimes seeing white words on a black background or black words on a white background could be a little bit strenuous on the eye. So you need to be able to do some sort of survey to determine which is the best option, or have different options for persons to choose from, like dark mode, light mode, theme, right? Also, we wanna, if the story is interactive, we don't wanna say something like pick the red button or pick the blue button. It would be better for us to say, let's say, pick the triangle or pick the square, right? Using shapes instead of colors to accommodate the colorblind persons. And That is all that, okay, we need to make sure that if this website or this program is accessibility friendly, because visually impaired persons can't use smartphone devices and laptops. They just have to use the screen reader option on their smartphone. And that is all we were able to cover in the 10 minutes.
That's plenty. That's plenty, brother. Thank you so much. All right. I'm racing on to the end because I know we didn't want to go beyond 9. So, but thank you guys. I mean, the ideas are stunning and I'm excited already. Is there other group, Caspian?
Yes,
Please don't leave. Yes, go ahead.
Yes.
Sorry.
There's a group, Dwayne A.E. Waldron,
Right.
Jeremy, I hope, and Renell Sampson.
Right, bring them on.
Yes, good night, everyone. We are Group 5, and the name that we chose is Voices of Faith.
Voices of Faith.
Yes, and we dealt with the visually impaired. So some of the things that we spoke about when before, like the cool idea of having someone blindfolded. We also thought of that as well, where like you will guide them through a maze, and that will also be an object lesson on faith as well. We also came up with the idea of having a very dramatic play with a lot of visual effects, sound effects, sorry, in the background, and just making it, whether it's a Bible story or a modern story with a faith application, whichever one it is, make it really, really dramatic, the sound effects, just really moving. Also, we had in mind to involve the visually impaired in the story by actually placing something in their hands that relates to the story. So let's say it was about sports or something. We have like some tennis balls or so in the event, and we just place it in their hands to just give them a feel of the actual story itself. And also, one cool idea we had in the end was to create for all of them Braille cards with Bible text or quotes in it as well.
Good.
Yeah. So those were what we came up.
Very good. Thank you so much, Dwayne. Thank you. I appreciate those efforts you guys have made. Cafian, we have another group.
Pastor, I think that's it. I just gave a little sounding board, and most groups have gone.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Group 13 still here.
Excuse me?
Group 13 is still here.
So you're ready to go? Go ahead, Group 13.
No problem.
Okay. You seeing me?
Yes, I'm CKDE.
Okay. Well, our group's name was Hearing Without Ears. It was made up of me, Abiella Braffett, me, Deontay Douglas Stewart, Abiella Braffett, and Brittany Rock.
Okay.
The ideas we had were, number one, having someone who is proficient in sign language doing the sermon, or actually just translating everything, like how they have it on the news or on certain other platforms. Something else that you said was that people who speak other languages are part of the hearing impaired, so we also have a translator for those people. If you do not want to have like other people involved, or you do not have access to other people involved, you could also have a slideshow that just presents the words on the back. If it is in church, it could be on a projector in the back of you, or screen, or if it is on Zoom, it could just be like a shared screen.
Right.
As for in church, most people may feel the need to close their eyes during the prayer. So as of when it is finished and they say amen, you could let go a loud sound, or not a loud sound, but like something that would give you a vibration, because a lot of deaf people hear through vibrations, so that when they feel the bright vibration, they could know that the prayer is over and they could raise their head and open their eyes and stuff. Another thing that we had was a transcriber, a automatic or manual transcriber that could change whatever the preacher says into words so that they could see it in the back instead of having a pre-organized slideshow. Like someone said before, we have an emotive skit, like the video you showed. It could have a faith-based message or a Bible story that they could see and understand without having to hear. A lot of people don't like dance in church, but we also had an interpretive dance so that they could feel involved, or they could understand what is going on in the music, that kind of way. And something that we came up with last minute was something I call Everyone is Deaf. So this one is for a special program to involve the deaf people, not like an everyday thing. But at the beginning of the program, you have the words up in the back on a screen, and the presenter comes up and he's just mouthing words, not making a sound, making everyone feel like for a minute they are deaf and that they can't hear. They would want to know what is going on, and then all of a sudden you would hear the sound coming, and everyone would understand. You would tell everyone what the program is about, deaf awareness, etc., etc., and it will implement into there.
Right. Wow, you guys did a lot, I must say, in that short space of time, because usually AY programs take a while, or any youth program will take a while to come together. But because you had a focus, you were able to put things together, and then you had people breathing ideas into the group session. So I'm thankful you guys have done exceptional. I am pleased for the work you have put into this. I'm being told, well, I suppose Kafian will do that, but the exercise, I'm sure, was quite fruitful. And it was not, as I said, intended specifically to treat with those who are hearing impaired or visually impaired, but as was hinted, if you come to church and you sit down in church, there are some people who learn by what they see, the others who learn by what they hear. So if you're not communicating effectively with your voice, they become hearing impaired in a sense, because they're not able to relate to what you are saying. Have you ever heard somebody speak in a monotone or in a way that bores you to death? You become monotone because you stop listening to the person. If that happens to you when somebody else is speaking, hence the reason when you go up to speak, you have to speak in a way that will not do the same thing. It might mean not just using your tone of voice, it might mean using props, as we looked at the film with Charlie Chaplin, using props to enhance what you're about to say. In the same way, some people learn by what they see. So things can distract them very easily. Therefore, whatever gestures you make, whatever props you use, can either accentuate what you are saying, or it could take away from what you are saying. Your backdrop, the stage, the type of chairs you use, the color scheme, all of these things will either attract or detract or distract. One of the things that attracts people to TikTok is the quick movement of characters, even though it's one person sometimes, but it's how it is portrayed on one little screen for half a minute. You can say so much. And I think as Seventh-day Adventists, some of us talk a little too much. We have to know how to concise what we're about to say, package what we're about to say, plan before you go up in the pulpit how you're going to say this, and sit up or stand up, speak up, shut up, and then sit down. That's an acronym or a sort of proverb you can use in order to communicate effectively. Let me close up with this. And I use the text, I didn't refer to it, I thought I would do it now with David. Yes, we're going to our final words. With David and Goliath. When David came to the battlefield, Saul told David, and this is quite humorous if you ask me, David had never fought a battle in his life. And Goliath had been fighting battles since he was David's age. David had never fought. So you were never an AY leader in your whole life. You are now being put in a place where you are going to function in the presence of those who have been functioning long before you. Saul was accustomed fighting battles with his armor, his shield and his sword, etc., etc. Now he is commissioning David to go out and fight. And Saul tells David, put on the armor that I am used to. David tried on the armor and he says, I cannot go with these because I have not the experience. These things are slowing me down. What I'm saying to you is we have come to an intersection of the earth's history where God is calling for David to take over or to assume leadership. And you may want to fight the battle based on what you are accustomed to. Sometimes, and I hear people saying this, sometimes people expect you to fight battles according to traditions, according to what you have grown accustomed to or what they would have grown accustomed to. And they ask you to fight those battles that way. David did try it. He did try it, but he was not accustomed. God says to our young people and says to you that battles can be won not only by putting on the armor of yesterday, but by using what I have armed you with for today. You guys are brilliant. You have the ability to be technologically sound and advanced more than others. And the temptation for those who have gone before would be for us to clothe you with the armor of yesterday. I am saying to you, God sometimes says to our young people, and he says it to you right now, at this intersection, at this reset experience, he is saying to you, there are some things you can do that those who would have gone before have never done before, have never done and cannot accomplish. But it must not be simply to change the norm so that you can be different. David says, I can fight and beat this Goliath. I can fight him with a sling. I am not just using the sling for exhibition so people can see me. God says, I am going to empower you to fight and win and advance in ministry by what I have entrusted you with. So if you are good at spoken word, it's not for people to applaud you. It's not to win a contest. You must be able to use spoken word so that you can advance the ministry of Christ. If you are, and I don't see why spoken word cannot be done on a pulpit on a Sabbath morning, but it must not be simply for people to applaud you and your poetic skills. Maybe two of you could come together and present a sermon using spoken word, because that's the language that other young people would hear. Those who are not members of the church will hear. But I'm saying you have to look at yourself and ask yourself, what do I have in my hand? What have I used that I think is effective? Because David said, I was able to fight off the lion and the bear. So maybe there are some things that God has empowered you that he has never empowered any generation with. And you are tempted to follow Saul and wear his armor. God says, I am your armor. I give you the gift. I've empowered you. If you were going to fight the battle the way Saul did it, then I would not need you. Therefore, you are wanted too. God empowered Saul. He won battles with his armor, but now he's empowering you to fight the battles in the gift that God, or with the gift that God has entrusted you. You just now have to thrust yourself into his hand so that he can use you to fight the battles of today. You guys have said it. And I'm told Chosen, Brighter Light, Sir Charles, 3S, Wedding Planner, Mountain Mover, Gifted Hands, Interactive Vision, Voices of Faith, Hearing Without Ears. All of you and the groups that you represent have gifts that God needs in 2021. So does God need you? Yes, you are on the wanted list. You are desperately wanted. Do not give up the fight because Saul did not recognize you. Do not give up the fight because Jesse, your father, undermined you and your brothers in church don't like you. Don't blame them for not fighting. You might have a case, but God is saying, do not allow what others have said to you to undermine the ability that I have given to you. Stand up in the battlefield and fight with that gift with which I've entrusted you.
What a word. Pastor Riley, I am at this point here so grateful for what you just said there, because sometimes we are stuck trying to mimic the things that we have seen gone to pass when we know for certain that new things are developing. So as we youth leaders, youths, and those who are listening, remember what Pastor Riley said in the ending, which talked about being empowered with your new giftedness. Remember what you did tonight, whereby we just had 10 to 15 minutes and we saw people come up with ideas that were so revolutionary. Let's incorporate an all-inclusive atmosphere when we come to planning our program, because the fight lies with you and me. We have to stand up tall till the end. And though sometimes, as you say, the accolades may not come, ministry is ministry, and God sees you, God hears you, and He is going to bless you tremendously. So youths, youth leaders, everyone listening in, please remember that you are wanted. You are wanted too. And you need to raise up your voices as much as possible. At this point in time, to close us off, we want to invite Pastor Wayne Jeffrey on the platform to close us off in prayer. Pastor?
And before Pastor prays, just wanted to say to the groups, because I think we really like for the groups to stay together. I don't know how possible it is. I don't know if you have taken names and numbers of your members, but there's an assignment I want to give to all of you. In fact, I want you to work on the program that you have started to put together and put flesh on it. Just about, put flesh on it. Just pretend as if you're planning a program for South Caribbean Conference or for your district, for your church. I would want the groups to stick together and see how we can, when we meet again, how we can sharpen your skills in terms of planning.
And it would be nice if you can feel free to probably message us on Facebook or probably message us on Instagram, and you can put that program there, put it as a file. You all know that we're techno savvy in all different forms and fashion, right? And even if you're so bold, because it's good to network, we can even put it on the Facebook page, just there for people to use and minister throughout Trinidad and Tobago and possibly our region and our world. So feel free. Pastor Jeffrey.
Let me say pleasant Sabbath and peace be unto you. Thank you for inviting me, even though it was at late notice. Are you hearing me? Just give me a thumbs up if I'm being heard.
Yes, Pastor.
Yes, I'm being heard.
Yes.
All right, great. So that I would want to do the prayer. And before I pray, thank you, Pastor Riley, for that introduction. And Sister Cheryl is there as well. I just want to let the young people know that it's very important that you use your gifts and talents, because we have an aging population, a growing population,
one with more youth than ever before. And not just the times that have changed, but strategies in reaching individuals have changed as well. And so the gifts and talents you have, the friends that you would have, the things they would say and do, you need to be able to not just to counteract that, but to help them to see that what they are doing, you can do it in such a way that will help them to be better people as well. You know, I was telling Aaron, Sir Charles, that his mother and myself, she is the possibilities and also the safety officer for the conference. And I, as youth director, we plan to pool our resources together because I have embarked upon a program to teach young people sign language so that they can go back to their churches and implement their sign language on Sabbath morning and for AY as well. So it is not that you would just be doing sign language or going to church and sing, no. But while the pastor is preaching, you should be signing to those individuals in the congregation who are impaired and who are hearing impaired. And that's very important. And of course, in my office right now, there's a braille that I took up in order to be able to help those people who are visually impaired in church. But because of the COVID, we can't do the thing directly as we want to. So now I have to change all the strategies and the ways in which I was going about to do those training programs with the visually impaired and the hearing impaired. So those things are on stream, and trust me, before the year is done, by God's grace, our AY societies and our young people would be able to play a greater role to draw the hearing impaired and the visually impaired to Christ, because those are two groups of individuals that we are struggling to really help in our churches. And these two things would help. And thank you, young people, and thank you, Pastor Riley, for having this program here that I believe would bear fruit. So continue to plan your programs, and not just plan your programs, but execute them. And of course, from the youth department, the support will come very soon. I invite you now to bow your heads with me and close your eyes as we pray. Kind Father and God, it is with grateful hearts and minds that we come in thy presence, thanking you not just for the effort, but for the brilliance and for the variation in which our youth have brought about and have managed to do programs in such a short space of time. May you continue to imbue them with power so that they can help enhance really the lives of those who are not just visually impaired, but also hearing impaired. May you bless their hands, may you bless their minds, may you bless their eyes, may you bless their entire beings so that they will continue to be of service to you in a greater measure on a broader platform. May you lead them, Lord. May you allow their feet to walk in the paths of righteousness for your name's sake. May you allow their eyes to be able to focus on you and to be able to be ingenious in the things that they would do so that they would bring about a transformation in the lives of others. To this end, I pray that you may keep our young people and help them to remember that they are not the future church, but they are the present church, and they need to keep that in mind. So continue to guide and direct them, and may they use their talents and gifts in a time like this to draw all men unto you, we pray and give you thanks. May we all have a pleasant, spirit-filled, happy Sabbath. For we ask it in Jesus' name with thanksgiving. Amen and amen.
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 So to all my young people listening, raise up your voices and continue to do the work that God would have you to do. Till we meet next time, because it's important for us to gather and to share our thoughts. So see you next time as you fulfill the promises God has in store for you are wanted.